Yeah, good morning and welcome back, friends. Today we are uploading Java programming part 16 of 33 plus. Java programming part 16 of 33 plus. See, this is a short video. Now onwards, I will be uploading only short videos spanning from 10 to 12 or at the maximum 13 or 14 minutes only. See, below 15 minutes. So that it will be convenient for the viewers to have a glance at the entire video. Fine. Now look, in this video, we are actually describing only two programs. See, programs on constructors. Java constructors or constructor functions. So the first program is on the purpose of a default constructor. The purpose of a default constructor. And the second program is on parameterized constructors. That is a constructor with a specific number of parameters. So these are the two programs that we are discussing in this short video. Please look for that. Thank you very much. Yeah, now let us investigate the default constructor in more detail. Let us investigate the purpose of the default constructor in more detail. Look. Here also we are using the same package, namely my package 06. Here we are using a class by name student. We are using a class by name student. And this class student is also in the same package, my package 06. You know the process of creating a new class in a given package, well known to you. I don't have to again and again explain that matter to you. Now look, package, my package 06, semicolon. Now some comments I have put, look. What is the purpose of a default constructor? It's a very important question. Look, what is the purpose of a default constructor? Next. The default constructor is used to provide the default values to the object like 0, null, etc. depending on the type. 0 for int, null for string, etc. The default value for this objects like, see, it will be provided default values to the object, see, like 0, null, etc. depending upon the type. So 0 will be for int and null will be for string, etc. Fine. Example of default constructor that displays the default values. This example is the example of a default constructor that displays the default values. Okay, fine. Let us see another example of default constructor which displays the default values. This particular program will display the default values. Okay, now look. So we are using, as I told you, a student class. The class is student. So this file is, what will be this file? Student.java. The file name will be student.java. So we will just go through the program. Public class student. So the class name is student. Next, open the brace. Now int id, semicolon, string name, semicolon. See, any student has got an id as well as its name. The student's id as well as name. ID is of type int and name is of type string. Okay, fine. Now, method to display the values of ID and name. A method to display the value of ID and name. What is it? Void display. Open the brace. Next line. System.out.println in bracket ID plus one space, one character space plus name. Close the bracket, semicolon. You know the syntax. ID plus one character space, minimum one character space plus name. Close the bracket, semicolon. Next, this is the closing brace. Now we are calling our main function, public static void main in bracket string args. We are now calling the main function, public static void main in bracket string args. Then open the brace. Creating objects. We are now creating objects using the new keyword. Look, student. Our class name is student. student S1 is equal to new student. Default constructor is called new student. This is the constructor, the default constructor. A constructor with no parameters inside or no arguments inside. So new student, semicolon. Again, student S2 is equal to new student, again, default constructor, again called here. So there are two student objects, S1 and S2. S1 and S2. It is not initialized with any specific value. It's very important to observe. It is not initialized with any specific values. It is absolutely, simply we have called the default constructor. Fine. So student S1 is equal to new student constructor, semicolon. Then student S2 is equal to new student constructor, semicolon. Next, displaying values of the object. Displaying values of the object. You know the mechanism of creating, calling a function in object-oriented languages. I already mentioned it. It is always in association with an object. So we have to call the display function. How we can call the display function? S1 dot display, semicolon. Next, S2 dot display, semicolon. So we are calling the display function in association with S1 as well as the display function in association with S2. This is the typical syntax of calling function in object-oriented language or calling a method in object-oriented language. You know it very well. I have already discussed that matter. We will be again coming with great detail on this later. Now, okay, fine. Now, this is the closing brace for our main function. Next, this is the closing brace for our class student. The student class is student. So, the class student is coming to an end at this point. Fine. Now, look. Now, everything is fine. We will now save everything and now we will click the run icon. See, 0 null, again 0 null. The output is, see, S1 dot display 0 null, then again S2 dot display 0 null. That means ID as well as name. ID as well as name. So 0 null, again 0 null. Look, that is the output. Because we did not specify any specific value for the objects. See, ID and name, nothing is specified. Nothing is specified. So, you will I look at this. I just go through this comment. Look at the output. It is 0 and null. Look, it is 0 and null. Since there is no specific object created, comma, the default values of int and string, that is 0 and null. The default values of int and string is 0 and null. Is provided by the default constructor. That is provided by the default constructor. That's all. That's the reason why we got the output as 0 null, 0 null. Fine. It's very simple. So, please understand the meaning of a default constructor and the purpose of default constructor, etc. This program also is a beautiful program. You go through it and understand the spirit of the program. Fine. I will now come to an end. Yeah, let us now discuss Java parameterized constructor. So now we are going to discuss the so-called parameterized constructor in Java. For this also we are using the same package. Look, my package 06. This program also we are keeping in the same package, namely my package 06. You know the process of keeping or creating a new class in a given package. Okay. So, package my package 06, semicolon. Package my package 06, semicolon. Now, some comments I have put. Look, Java parameterized constructor. That is the constructor with parameters. So, next. A constructor which has a specific number of parameters is called a parameterized constructor. Okay, a constructor which has a specific number of parameters is called a parameterized constructor. Look, in this example, comma, we have created the constructor of a student class that have two parameters. We can have any number of parameters in the constructor. There is no problem. You can have any number of parameters in the constructor. Look, call this file as mystudent.java. Call this file as mystudent.java. What does it mean? We are now going to create a class by name myStudent. The class name is going to be myStudent. That's why the file name is myStudent.java. You know the relation between a class and the file name. All those things. Now come, let us go through the program. Public class myStudent. Public class myStudent. Next line, open the brace. Then int id semicolon string name. For the student, the id and as well as name. For the student id, int id semicolon, then for student name, string name. Fine. So id is of type int, name is of type string. Okay, fine. Now look. Now creating a parameterized constructor. Now we are creating a parameterized constructor. That means a constructor with parameters. Now what is the class name? myStudent. So myStudent in bracket int I comma string n close the bracket. Next open the brace. id is equal to I. id is equal to I. Next semicolon, name is equal to n, semicolon, close the brace. So I is assigned to the id, that is the id, and n is assigned to name, that's it. id is equal to I, semicolon, name is equal to n, semicolon, close the brace. This is a parameters, two parameters. One is of type int, the other is of type string. Okay, fine. That we have declared so. Now, method to display the values. Method to display the values. Void display. You are familiar with this function. Void display. Open the brace. System.out.println in bracket. id plus one character space plus name. Close the bracket. Semicolon. System.out.println in bracket. id plus one space, one character space plus name. Close the bracket. Semicolon. Then this is the closing brace. The display function's closing brace. Now we are calling the main function. We are calling the main function. Public static void main in bracket. String args close the bracket. Close the bracket. Next line open the brace. Now look. Creating objects and passing values. Now we are creating object using the new keyword. And we are passing respective values also for the parameters. We are passing respective arguments to the parameters. Look, myStudent S1, the object is S1 is equal to new myStudent in bracket 111 comma Kevin within double quote, close the bracket, semicolon. So we have the ID as well as name. See, ID and name. So whatever we have passed as 111 is for the ID and Kevin is for the name. Next, again myStudent S2. S2 is the object, is equal to new myStudent in bracket 222, 222, comma Emma. Emma is within double quote, close the bracket, semicolon. These are the, so in the first case, 111 is the ID and Kevin is the name. And in the second case, 222 is the ID and Emma is the name. Close the bracket, semicolon. Look. So both student object S1 and S2 are created and initialized with the proper values. 111 is for ID and Kevin is for name. Kevin is for name. Similarly, 222 is for ID and Emma is for name for the next student. For S1 student has got an ID of 111 and name Kevin, and S2 student has an ID of 222 and name Emma. Fine. It's very simple. Now calling method to display the value of object. Calling the method. Calling method to display. Which is our method to display? Display method only. Display. Calling the display method for displaying the values of the object. What is the syntax for that? The syntax is object.method. The calling mechanism in object-oriented language is always in association with an object. You know it. Object.function. Object or object.method. So that's it. S1.display. Close the bracket, semicolon. S1.display, semicolon. Next, S2 dot display, semicolon. So S1 object. So display is now called in association with S1 object, and again display is called in association with S2 object. That's okay, fine. The calling is also over now. This is the closing brace for the main function. And this is the closing brace for our class myStudent. The functionality of class myStudent is coming to an end at this point. It is coming to an end at this point. This is the closing brace for the definition of the class myStudent. That means the program has come to an end at this point. So we are done with the program. Fine. The program is over. Now it's a matter of just saving everything and clicking the run icon. See, 111 Kevin, 222 Emma. We have the ID as well as name. ID for first student S1 is 111. The name is Kevin. ID for the second student S2 is 222. Then Emma. Name is Emma. Fine. It's very simple. So this is exactly the spirit of what is called parameterized constructor. Parameterized constructor. Fine. It's all very simple. Now we will come to an end.